Hi, my name is Zaid. I'm from IH Parts America, and this is my 1976 Scout 2 Terra pickup. So my Scout 2 has a 345 engine powered by throttle body fuel injection, has a small camshaft in it. It's been ported out, it's been modified heavily, so it's still running the original engine that would have came in these Scouts. Transmission's a 5-speed ND 4500 with a special input shaft that we had made to run behind the IH engine. And then behind that I have a 2-speed 3.8-to-1 Atlas powering the low range, and I have a twin stick cable shifter inside. The rear axle is actually a front axle out of a 2005 and up Super Duty Dana 60. Ended up cutting the tubes basically and retubing it and flipping it the other way. So now it's basically the OEM Dana Spicer 488 ring and pinion flipped around with a E-locker in the back with Dutchman 35 spline shafts. So that thing's been pretty much bulletproof. The front is a narrowed full-size heavy-duty 44, and it has Ford F-150 1979 outers on it with RCV axle shafts, and that is powered by a Hydro Boost brake system that we put together for this thing. And a couple other notable things is it has 37-inch Milestar tires, 17-inch trail-ready B-block rims, a warranty 274. It's got onboard air so I can fill up the tires. It's got lockers, E-lockers front and rear, so both Eaton E-lockers, 488 gears. So this thing gets me where I need to go. It's pretty reliable. The inside's got, a stereo and a shifter and twin sticks and some gauges, and it brought us here to this spot today and pretty problem free, so hopefully it stays that way. I normally do is, you could probably tell this thing has body damage on it. I've taken it to Moab, Rubicon. I don't like wheeling basic stuff. I generally just take it on pretty decent trails. I wheel it, where everyone else wheels, just anything, whatever rating it is, I'll try it at least. So I'm not scared to scratch it or dent it or hurt it. So this Scout does very well in rocks and technical crawling. It's super low. It's got like 85-to-1, which is perfect for this thing, so I'm able just to crawl around, ease my way into things, especially with power steering and Hydro Boost. I can tilt, I can engage my front end, do front digs. Even though I've never actually had to do that before, just turn my lockers on and off. It's pretty good on the rocks. It surprises people since it's on leaf springs and spring over. Most people don't do that anymore. So the hardest things of this rig to wheel on is probably like today, where it's just pure ice on rocks. And no matter how built your rig is, unless you're a tank that weighs 20,000 pounds and you're aired down to nothing, you're going to be slipping and sliding. So that was us. I had to grab third gear coming up a hill up here, which don't usually have to do that, but on an icy day like today, where it's sunny and it's thawing every night and freezing up, expect anyone to really have wheeling issues wheeling this type of stuff. My worst off-road break was probably on Rubicon, where we went and wheeled in to the RTF Foundation property, camped overnight, wheeled back to the staging area, aired up, and it was fine. Then I got on the road, and apparently I sheared my steering arm. So that was a trailer home there. That was not a field repair. Did not have the parts on hand. My favorite modification probably is the rear Dana 60 that I cobbled out of a front 05 and up Dana 60. I kept twisting shafts on 44s, and I kind of just wanted to be unique. The OEM Ford Dana 60 ring pinions are slightly bigger than the aftermarket by a little bit. I just wanted to be different, so it's pretty much bulletproof. Set 20 bearings, still semi-float. Built it once 4 years ago. It took a lot of work, but I literally haven't touched it since, besides changing the oil. So it's just nice not having to worry about an axle failure. And even with the front, having RCVs in a 44, I've been pretty hard on it, and I haven't had any issues ever since I put all that stuff on. So if I were to rebuild this truck again and build it into a wheeler, one thing I would change is probably in the front. I still have stock Scout 2 length leaf springs. I probably would have done like some Chevy 2.5-inch wide longer ones, just to get some better travel and it's easier on the spring. Currently I have a kind of a contraption of leaves from Milton leaf springs and created my own leaf pack. So if I just had run a Chevy leaf spring, it would have been easier from the get-go, and probably would still be running them as is. So that's what I would change. Honestly, the best value mod was keeping the 345. People think that the 345 IH engines or any IH engine, they're pretty anemic in power. you gotta know what you're doing. If you could tune these engines right, they do perform very well, and they're really good at wheeling since they have so much low end torque. They don't like to stall out. So if you don't have very good gear ratio, it'll kind of help you in your advantage to keep the car going. So in that 345 will rip down the road going 85 and then crawl going half a mile an hour. So in my opinion, that's the best value since it bolted in technically. And that's the only thing that bolted in this Scout was the engine. The next mod's probably gonna be some more wheeling tailored seats. I noticed that I just have some Jeep YJ seats in it, and it's not the best for like articulation and feeling safe. So I'm gonna get probably some generic comfy seats for wheeling or off-roading, and then build a little exo cage around it just to be safer. So what do I think other wheelers think of this thing on the trail? I'll tell you, every time I go wheeling, everyone comes up to it and has a weird look to it, like they don't know what it is. I can't tell if they think it's a dumpster, if it's a box with the cab on it. They can't really tell what it is. So people just think it's something. I don't know. They come up to it and they ask me what it is, and they ask me how it's still on leaf springs and how it still can wheel over things. In my opinion, kind of funny. I just tell them it's a Scout, and they ask me, you know, oh, their grandfather had one. Or don't intend on selling this rig anytime soon, just because, and then I don't have anything to wheel anymore. And I think if I were to build this thing again with current economics, it'd probably be quite a bit more expensive. I built this with a lot of random parts that I stole from various builds in the conjoining property. So I don't think I'd be able to source those parts again at that bargain of a price. So I don't really intend on selling it unless I really have to sell it. Best form of advice I can give someone is just keep it basic. Start with some big tires, and maybe lift it a little bit and just go wheel it and see how it does. And from that point on, you can determine if you want it to be slower, faster, better suspension, and you can probably budget your money a little bit better towards mods versus just taking a car and seeing what someone else built and being like, I want to build that, and putting all your money into it and finding out that's not what you wanted. So just find any car that is remotely wheelable, 4-wheel drive probably. I would prefer that if you're picking a 4-wheel drive car, and just do the simple stuff, mud tires and a lift, weld the diff up and take it wheeling and see how you like it. Go from there.